These are, in my opinion, the best setups for every single map in Valorant. And by that, I mean it is the one setup that I would run to start basically every single game. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, for cam, on Ascent A, putting it right on here, just because it gives good vision into cat and A main. It will get broken from A main relatively easily, but that's okay, because we're using it to get a timing for a one-way here. Come into this corner, place your middle HUD line across the bottom of this line on the wall here, and throw. Should land right here. And for trips, you're placing one across here and one across here. These trips, in my opinion, just get the most coverage, protect you the most, and still give you a good chance for kills. The trip here, it covers both them doing a cat split and them running to switch. So for either of those situations, you get a free kill. And this one just basically protects you the entirety of you on site except the right side of Jenny. For your setup, so you're gonna start showing in your cam. If they come A main, pop your one way, get a free kill, and then after that, you have your second cage that you can throw either left side or right side to use to work around inside of. So you can come inside of here and just work around it. You could rotate the gen if you want, take a fight on the guy who's not tripped. You could pop your cage here, again just spam for trips, and maybe try to walk out here, take a timing. Really simple stuff. And overall just really strong util. Okay, so for on B, you're going to start by coming into this corner, crouching, placing your crosshair right here, and throwing. Get one-way effect right there. And for your camera, place it above on the sign here. For tripwires, for the first one, it may seem a little odd, but I will explain it later. You are placing a trip right here to cover lane. And for your second one, you're coming over here, placing it here. So how you're playing this setup, you're going to want to start stairs in your cam with your crosshair placed on your one-way. As soon as you see feet, you can pop your one-way, try to get a free kill. And now, depending on where you go, you have your cam to give you info, and you still have your second cage that you can freehand. If you need your cage lane, you can come against this wall, place your crosshair in the middle of this pipe and throw. It'll give you perfect coverage for your tripwire and for just lane run out. So for this setup, essentially after you are taking your one-way fight in main, you have loads of different options you can do, including just giving all the way up, all of sight. From this position, your trips are both literally free kills. If they do a mid split, it is extremely likely they run into this trip. It is directly in the middle of the open as a freest kill ever. And even if they don't, there's always that one player that pushes CT. For your second trip, it's pretty similar to the one before that you throw in lane, still really strong, and it's just slightly better now. Again, free kills here. Okay, so for bind on B, for your first trip, you're gonna want to place it right here. This trip is absolutely nuts. I think this trip might be the best trip in the game now. I'll show you guys what I mean. It is basically unbreakable. You have to walk all the way out here and just be staring at it to break. And it covers literally all of the jump out. Like, this is so much better than the old pinata trip that people used to run. It is actually nuts. Okay, so for second trip, you want to place it right here. This trip basically just covers all of elbow and right side sight push, and it makes you pretty safe so that you can just take fights and focus on the left side right here. For your cam, you're gonna want to come up here, jump, place it right here. It just sees into hookah, sees long walkout, rarely gets broken, so that when there's people flooding site, you can tag one of them. It's just overall strong.
Give me a corpse.
And then for cages, I've been throwing one in hookah here, and the second one I hold until the round starts, but if they come B, I basically always place it here. Playing in this corner, you're just waiting till you hear footsteps, or you see someone right outside the entrance of hookah. You leave your cam, Pop your cage to isolate the guy jumping out, so you can kill the guy jumping out without having to worry about the rest of them in hookah. After getting the free kill on the hookah guy, you're just looking to isolate 1v1s. It's really simple, honestly. You have this trip that covers all of your right side, you have a cam that gives you a tag, and you have this cage. You just pop this, and you're just looking to take fights. Play your life. You can even run out if you have to, because you already got your one. On A, still probably one of the stronger setups is a U-Haul setup, but it is practically exactly the same as playing it from before, so I'm going to show a triple setup instead. Starting with cams, this is the main one I throw when playing triple. It gets really, really good info, and you would honestly be surprised how long it takes enemies to shoot it out for the first time. For trips, you have this new one right here, and it just hard protects you from people trying to fight backside. This trips are really strong. And then for a second one, you have a kill trip, and I'm running any of these three. They all go in between the tire wheels, so if they look at this side, it is super hard to find and break it. Any of these three. This trip's really strong now. And then for your cage, I'm only throwing one in the pre-round, and I'm throwing it on this square right here. But basically, this cage just gives you space to spam off your kill trip. But if you also need to take a timing, you can try to fight right or left side into showers without being exposed to short. Okay, so for B site, starting with your camera, you're gonna want to jump, place it in between these two things. This camera just gives the line vision into arcade and sees the walkout. For tripwires, you're gonna want to place this one from before. It's an old one, but it's still really effective. And for your second one, I'm placing it right here. And for your cage, I'm placing one right here and holding on to the other one. And now, with this setup, you can play basically anywhere on site. I'm starting in tower and just sitting in my cam. My cam sees if they cross arcade, so I don't have to be worried about that. And I just see the run out. This cage covers up both your tripwires and just gives 2 free kills. Boom, boom. Really easy to play. Okay, so for on A, you're going to jump up on top here, place your cam here. This camera just gives you good vision into A main and gives you vision on drops, so you don't have to watch it. And then for your tripwires, we're placing one here. This is similar to the one before, but now, because it's longer, you can place it onto the deeper trips so that it can't be jumped. For your second trip, I'm placing it on the edge here. And then for cages, walk into this corner under the stairs here, and place your crosshair in the middle of these 2 lines and throw. So one way. And then for your second cage, I'm placing one right here. Now, sitting your camera, you're big chillin'. You see someone get really close here, you pop your one way, try to get a kill. And then once they're out on site, you can pop this cage, spam the tripwire that they just walked into and the choke here, and then you have this cage covering up your second tripwire. Okay, so for Haven A, you want to come Heaven and jump out onto the default box. And from here, you can place your camera here. This camera just gives good vision on site and also sees early deep into sewers. It's pretty nice. For tripwires, you're going to want to place it along this wall here. And for your second trip, you're going to want to place it here. And for cages, normally I am placing both on where this cube is on the floor. It's this weird line. From here, you play in your camera. When they actually hit site, you pop your cage here, covers up this whole area here that you can work around in. If they walk into the cage, they'll get hit by your tripwire, it'll be a free kill. And if they walk out this side, you can get a free kill off your trip. This cage, again, you have 2 of them, and you just want to work around in this area. For Haven B, don't play B. If you want info here, you can still probably just place the same trip as before, or you can place this one as soon as the round starts. But don't actually set up on the site, it is bad in ranked. For garage, nothing's really changed. All the same setups will work exactly the same, except now, if you want the info trip, you can place it here instead, just so it can't get pre-fired here. That's about it. You also have this, I see some people saying you have this trip here that you could throw that connects to the door. I think it's bad. Like, when people get there, they don't just run from here and run straight into a trip. They get here, stop, pull out a flash or something, and then flash. They're just going to see this trip and break it. It's not going to get anything off it. It's not good, in my opinion. And then finally for C, where stuff actually gets a lot better, you come up onto the box here, throw this camera, same as before, just gives you garage info and C main info. For your cages, placing one on the corner of this box here, and one in the choke on the right. And then for tripwires, I'm placing one off this pot just to cover all of this push area here. And then I'm placing one behind the new box here. The whole purpose of the setup is just to try to hold backside control and stall for your teammates to be able to get into backside. And these tripwires are really good for it. So all you're doing, when they get in, popping your cages, and spamming off your strips when they run into them. It's not that hard. So for Icebox A, this is the main camera I start with. It will get shot out pretty early, but it just gives you insanely early info, seeing all the way into basically their spawn on A. For tripwires, I'm throwing this one, and then as soon as the round starts, I'm throwing this. And for cages, just throwing a basic one in the choke here and holding onto the other one. From here, I'm playing behind the green box and just chilling. Once they get close, you can pop your cage. You're spamming off your trips to try to get free kills and trying to hold back left side control. For Icebox B, I'm placing a trip in kitchen here to watch the tube work up. For my camera, I'm placing it here. This camera, combined with the trip in kitchen, means that if they're showing early presence towards A or B, your mid player does not have to hold mid. He can early rotate, meaning you have an extra player on site to stop the push, which is really strong. For your second trip, I am placing it here, paired with a cage. This trip just covers up the yellow push on the default plant. This is pretty strong, not anything too special. And you just pair with a cage just to block the sight line off of and make it more likely they run into the trip. So playing this setup, you can play from two different positions. You can play from back snowman and just hard play your life. Basically in this rule, you're just giving loads of info across the map, and if they hit B, you have a pretty likely one kill. And you play for retake. Or you can play it further up here, which is normally how I like to play it. If you are playing here with it, I throw my second cage right here. So from this position, you just are big chillin', your camera sees when they cross, and you're just trying to force and isolate 1v1s. A lot of times when they cross, it'll be pretty distinct when the first players cross, so I'll try to take a 1v1 with him, and I can pop the cage here, so I don't have to worry about that push. Pop the cage here, and off this positioning, I can either run away across here because of my cage, or I can keep holding and get a kill off the guy on the trip, or keep fighting. Okay, so for Pearl, starting on B, just because the changes make a much bigger difference on this site. You throw your camera right here. Same camera as before, just sees B main and it sees B link for you. It's a really powerful camera. For your tripwires, you're gonna place one here. Just covers all of back hall push. Just really, really strong trip. And for your second one, you're gonna place it here. And then for cages, I like to place both of mine on this white line here. And now, when the round starts, you're showing it in your camera, looking back and forth to make sure no one's pushed up B link or B main. when people walk up and are close to your trip, you can pop your cage, spam off your trips to get a free kill, and then you have your second cage to either stop people from pushing back call, or when they go for the plant, if they go for it, the long plant right here, you can pop this cage, and it actually acts as a one-way effect where the back of their body or their arms, depending which way they're looking, will be sticking out while they can't actually see you. And then for A, the tripwires again got super buffed. This one is now insane, and I basically throw this trip every single round. For the second one, I mix it up, but you can either throw this one here or this one here as two really good starter trips. For your camera, placing it in the corner here is honestly probably the strongest one you can do on site. It just sees into art and sees here, doesn't get broken super early, and you can get tags so that you can wallbang people. And then for cages, I just place one here, and if I need the second one, I will place it there also. And we're just playing in dugout. So playing this setup, it's pretty simple. It's just a simple dugout setup. You've seen it a dozen times. You're just chilling back here, popping your cage if they're pushing you, and you're just wallbanging off your trips and your cam tag. Except this time, your trips now are super strong compared to what they used to be before.